All right, let's make a start. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. In this webinar 213, we are going to touch upon a topic which has wide applications, which at one extreme of the spectrum is a valid topic even for school kids. What they should do first and what they should do later. The wisdom of right sequence. Everybody, young and old, are confused at times about where to begin. And many, being puzzled about where to begin, don't take up anything at all. Sri Krishna warns them, Mate sangostu akarmani. A lot of people slip and fall into akarma, means they don't do anything at all. If you ask them, why are you sitting idle? They say, yes, I'm sorry about it, but I did not know whether to do A first or B first. And in the confusion of what to do first, they ended up doing nothing, which is terrible. On the other extreme of the spectrum, even advanced spiritual students need to be very intelligent. They are capable of going ahead, going further. They are capable of fine-tuning their spiritual studies and practices. Even in the matter of meditation, they, thanks to their exposure to Vedanta and allied subjects, they have many options. And if a little mechanicalness sets in their case, they will be doing something less challenging all the time, afraid to take up something more challenging, and in the process, settling for less reward too. Therefore, utter beginners and advanced spiritual inquirers all need to be clear on what they should pick up first, how long they should stay in that first task that they took up, when to move over to the next task, and so on. Let me give a few examples, and to begin with, let me quote from Valmiki Ramayana, where Lord Sri Rama advises his younger brother Bharata on how, among countless tasks that kings have, they need to specially pay attention to what is truly important. They should not get distracted by all sorts of small things. Lots of pressures, lots of demands, lots of requests. Sometimes people come to you with the emotions, they shed tears, and looking at their tears, you are likely to attend to something less important, and in the bargain, forget what is truly important. Sri Rama, in the Ayodhya Kanda and the 100th Sarga, and to mention the shloka number 19, says, O Bharata, hope you always pick up the more important high priority tasks first and less important low priority tasks later. Obviously, Sri Rama did not speak English, So he did not use the words high priority, low priority. That's our modern corporate language. He used a Sanskrit expression, Laghu Moolam Mahodayam. Any important work is very well described by that expression. Important work is such where even if we put in a little investment of time, money, or energy, the rewards outside as well as the satisfaction in our heart is a lot. Laghu Moola, Maha Udaya. For example, even for your personal growth, though you have many things before you, you pick up 20 minutes window of time and do some yoga asana. You just did only 20 minutes in the morning, or you did 11 minutes of that Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama. 11 minutes is peanuts in the 24 hours span of a whole day. But all of us know when we do that yoga asana, when we do that 11 minutes of pranayama, we feel so re-energized, physically, energy-wise, and a certain sense of, I am today on right path. And work can always be taken up after that. Of course, we should not make the mistake of some yoga and some pranayama and then say, and then simply waste away our time eating, drinking, or reading newspapers. One has to be alert all the time. In fact, at this point itself, I may say that this webinar focuses on not doing more and more work, but doing work intelligently. When we are faced with the crisis of time, the available time seems to be less. The things that need to be done are a long list. First, unintelligently, we think of, I must work harder. I will stay late tonight and I will say no to everybody and so on. That is not very intelligent. If you stay late at night, then you won't get up early in the morning. You pay a price for it. Can you live just maybe 17 hours, 16 hours, or even 14 hours in a day, not doing more and more, but doing a few selected things wisely and intelligently? And that requires wisdom of right sequence. What Sri Rama said in Valmiki Ramayana many centuries ago, if not thousands of years ago, echoed in the famous book by Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he made the phrase, first thing first. And he talked about the 4-quadrant time management. 4 quadrants made in accordance with not urgent, not important, urgent and important, not urgent and important, and both urgent and important. So in modern digital language, if urgency and importance are called A and B. A can be 0 or 1, B also can be 0 or 1. Suppose A is urgent, A is 0 means some task is not urgent. A is 1 means that task is urgent. Likewise, if B is importance, then the digital Boolean language says if B is 0, then that particular job is not important. If B is 1, that job is important. So we talk of the Boolean language. There is a subject called Boolean algebra in modern computer science, digital science, and so on. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. These are the 4 possibilities. And Stephen Covey very vehemently argues that those of us who are able to spend significant time every day on things that are important and not urgent. I already gave the example. To do yoga is important. It cannot be called urgent because if you don't do yoga, the roof will not fall. Generally, we have a false sense of something being urgent. Hold back, control yourself, don't jump to the conclusion. Something appears urgent. Ask yourself, is it really urgent? Can it not wait for 2 hours? In these morning 2 hours, I would rather do yoga. I would rather do some pranayama. I would rather do some meditation. And I would rather take bath well in time and perform a little Shiva puja or Vishnu puja. Everything else can wait a little and I will be careful. So if you go about it that way and put first thing first, whether it is in the morning 2 hours where you do something for personal growth, and between 9 and 5, among the tasks that you have at workplace, you do important things first. You will surely have a greater sense of satisfaction and a sense of having control on your own day. In Sanskrit, there is a humorous Subhashita. I must quote it in a related manner. It says, Anarambho Manushyanam Prathamam Buddhi Lakshana. It's humorous right here. If you are wise enough not to take up at all kinds of projects and tasks and ideas, if you don't promise hastily, that is Prathamam Buddhi Lakshana. You are very intelligent. Because a lot of us promise in haste and repent at leisure. A lot of us say yes very hurriedly. And then, oh my, I said yes to her. I said yes to them. And now I find it difficult to do. Why did you say yes? Therefore, anarambha, not to say yes indiscriminately, not to offer to do something out of some fancy or out of some over enthusiasm, over confidence is Prathamam Buddhi Lakshana. And the second half of the shloka says, Arabdasya Antagamanam Dvitiyam Buddhi Lakshanam. All right, you took up a few things. You said, all right, I will do them. Having accepted certain tasks, you must have the discipline to complete them. Arabdasya Antagamanam Dvitiyam Buddhi Lakshanam. And that is what connects so well with our topic in this webinar. We need to be wise and not just running fast. We need to be wise. Two authors, Prasad Kaipa and another guy, they wrote a book, Being Wise in Place of Being Smart. The rabbit was smart, was talented in the rabbit and the tortoise story. The tortoise, though less equipped, less fast by nature, was wise. It went on doing its job with all calmness. And in that story, most well known, the tortoise wins the race. The smart rabbit halfway thinks, this is time for a nap. You and I sometimes, having all the skill and talent and intelligence and academic intelligence and such things, take things easy and mess up our work. So we talk about Lagu Moolam Mahodayam, first thing first, give importance to priority, adhere to priority. As you have a saying in America, make a plan and go by the plan. So a little bit of self-training. Nobody should do all these things with some stress and some kind of imposition upon oneself. Rather, one must calmly look at life and very calmly choose what is important and do it first. I said in the beginning that this wisdom of right sequence has wide applications. Take, for example, ethics. So it's not just pieces of work, but in ethics, in morality, to put others first, the sequence, and then to put ourselves later is a noble value. Customer first. Or in our culture in India, we have Atithi Devo Bhava. Guest is to be looked after first. Our own needs come later. Even while talking to children, if we can first cheer them up and then probably ask them to do some homework, do some other piece of work for us, sometimes for their own good. But before we demand some work from them, if we express a little love and care, the children are happy with us. That is ethics, that is morality, that is the value side of communication. Now, work and then ethics. What about a little advanced spirituality? I would say yes. Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Not scholarship, not a command on Sanskrit, English, Greek, or Latin, but having our senses under our control. Vashehi yasya indriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. That is the mark of spiritual wisdom. And in that very text, Gita, in the subsequent chapter 3, in the 41st verse, he uses the expression Adau. Adau. Adi means beginning. So sequence. Tasmat tvam indriyani adau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahityenam gnana vijnana nashanam. Adau. Arjuna, don't read up too much and sit philosophizing. Philosophy has a place, no doubt. But though in the beginning, in your daily life, from morning to evening, are you careful enough to be moderate in all your indulgence, food or speech or something else? Though. Therefore, before you talk big on Vedanta, ensure that you eat moderately, you speak moderately, you sleep moderately, and various engagements have to be optimum, moderate. Don't over promise. You go to a party, don't hang on there for the whole party till the host looks at you. Are you still there? What do you want now? Everybody has left. You seem to be sitting on the sofa with yet another helping of some soft drink. And the host look at you in a strange way. You say, okay, I'm leaving. What a shame. You go to a party or you go to any meeting, you go to a lot of social engagements. You must be quick enough to recognize what is appropriate. Sometimes we don't know. We go to some place thinking we may be required there for 2 or 3 hours. But within a few minutes, we realize that we don't have much role to play there. Then we should be flexible with ourselves. We should, okay, then let us proceed. Some other place you thought you need to be there only for half an hour, but after going there, you realize that on certain grounds of value, you realize that you need to be there for more time. An inner voice says, hey, don't go away. This is your very good friend. Be with him and help him. Then stay on. Therefore, we say in spiritual science again and again, nothing is more precious than a presence of mind, a certain alertness, where At the time required, at the time of requirement, you change in an appropriate manner. So, Shri Krishna says, begin with perfect control on your organs of action and organs of perception, karmendriya and jnanendriya. So what is the sequence involved here? Indriyas first, then definitely manaha, on your emotions. Speech is karmendriya already. And then buddhi, vichara, and so on. Don't talk about atmanishta. And even as you are talking about atmanishta, your eyes fall upon some delicious food and you think about, once I finish this lecture, I will finish all of them in the plate. Then there is a topsy-turvy situation. Now, another dimension of the right sequence from the point of view of spiritual sadhana is, let me construct an offhand example. Suppose one evening you have some 60 minutes free. 60 minutes free. A part of your mind says, yeah, I'm free, but I have some emails to be cleared. I have some promise to be kept. Let me get down to work. Another part of your mind says, but did I not decide that every evening I must pray, I must do japa? So what do? I would say in that 60 minutes that you have, for heaven's sake, spend 10 minutes with an alarm, with a soft alarm. Spend 10 minutes doing japa with all your heart, with all your mind, as though you have nothing else to do. Let those 10 minutes be totally devoted. The Ishta Devata. You are a devotee, let us say, of Shri Mata Lalitambika. Om Shri Matre Lalitambikaye Namaha. Om Shri Matre Lalitambikaye Namaha. 10 minutes. Then the soft alarm rings. Then with a smile, you say, now, as I promised to myself, I'm going to clear a couple of pieces of work. Do that 50 minutes. Don't say, I'll first do work and last 10 minutes I'll do japa. Many times it doesn't work. By putting important things which are truly valued, not by somebody else, you yourself value it in your heart of hearts. Put that first. You will find, on one hand, you have done something really useful. On the other, that sense of satisfaction. Now you have a third dimension, which is actually expressed in one of those good old statements: duty before pleasure. Duty before pleasure. Time and again, our mind oscillates whether I should enjoy something first or do work first. So work first and then enjoy. These are the age-old principles, dear friends, following which many have risen to heights of performance, both quantitatively and qualitatively. I have just begun today reading Indra Nui's autobiography, My Life in Full. And in her book, right in the introduction, she says, she uses an expression. Performance with purpose. Performance with purpose. What a nice expression. If we simply perform more, and we don't know what is the purpose of all this, we don't have adequate clarity, that doesn't make for much intelligence. If we have a great purpose, but we do not perform, we so easily yield to temptations, distractions, then we fail. Indra Nui, who was the CEO of PepsiCo between 2006 and 2018, for 12 years, has brought out this book, and she shares a lot of insights, especially how she managed a family with two growing daughters, along with leading a big company, worldwide famous company, not Fortune 500. It is said PepsiCo is a Fortune 50, among the top 50 companies of, I guess, United States, if not the world. So, how she managed her family and her work and so on. So, the third one, sadhana 1 is Indriyani Adav. Sadhana 2 is the sequence where you put japa first and then some work to be done. Sadhana 3 is when it is between work and pleasure. The previous scenario was God and work. Put God first. Now, between work and pleasure, put work first. That's how Scott Peck, the author of The Road Less Traveled, many, many years ago, said those in this world who are able to delay their gratification. He doesn't talk about denying that. So let some ascetics deny enjoyment. But 99% of all of us need to have the capacity to delay gratification. I have some ice cream in the refrigerator, and Scott Peck, the author, would not say that I should not eat the ice cream. But Peck would say, why not sit down and finish some work, even if it is some important phone call, maybe even greeting somebody on her birthday or his birthday. Do it first. That's what you owe to that friend. You called the birthday friend, and then you say, okay, let me have ice cream. So delaying the sense gratification, some other time emotional gratification, yet other time it could be intellectual gratification. Whatever, something that pleases the little me within us has to be held back for a while. You know, if I may take you a little further, throwing some light on how so many cases arise in this context of wisdom of right sequence. These days, a lot of us who have begun to see the importance of right diet which is nutritious, which gives true energy, not just something which quickly gets burnt and we again feel hungry or we again feel weak. So many of us have started taking salads first and rice or wheat later. Salads and vegetables first. They are given more importance. A lady in Chennai once told me a few years ago, Swamiji, please remember, nowadays it is established. In South India especially, we are rice eaters. The lady said to me, olden days it used to be a heap of rice and a little sambar on top. Now it is a lot of vegetables on which you put a little rice, mix it and eat. So vegetables or salads first, rice or wheat later is also right sequence. See, in food also this comes up. As you go higher and higher, friends, there is no end to the applications of this business, or I should say wisdom of right sequence. By the way, we have been presenting some webinars, wisdom of two choices, wisdom of two birds, the wisdom of two paths, wisdom of so many two. In that sense, this webinar also is about the wisdom of two. That is, one is less important, another is more important. To take up what is more important first and to take up what is less important later. Not to throw it out of the box, out of the basket. In fact, you and I realize that in life, small things also matter. Big things and small things both matter. Those which are a matter of large amount of money, for example, are important. Those which are a matter of $10, 200 rupees, etc., also matter. Small and big things. Life is an interesting tapestry of lots of things. All of them have their own place. Among our friends too, we must never totally ignore some of our friends who, let us say, in our eyes are not so significant. Whether they are rich or poor, whether they are talented or not, whether they are intelligent or not, they are our friends. They are sometimes family members. We live with all of them. And we need to make room for everyone. In the example of Lord Sri Rama, it was said, when he came every morning to the palace in Ayodhya, there was a sense among everybody, even a worker sweeping the floor. It is said in the Valmiki Ramayana that everybody felt that he was approachable. They knew that our dear Prince Ram would respond to me if I go and say Suprabhat. But that doesn't mean that everybody just went and disturbed him. If truly needed, then they would do so. But that sense of Ram is accessible. I can talk to him if needed. That itself was enough for them. He was approachable, but at the same time, he was so dignified, and he had his own way of touching the lives of people. The present Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, he seems to be really very efficient during the COVID, early months of COVID. All of us have heard how he phoned some nurse in Pune and spoke to her 10 minutes with her name and addressing her on phone, 5 to 10 minutes. We all got it on WhatsApp and whatnot. He said, I forgot her name, but he said to her, we appreciate the work you are doing during these COVID times. What a gift to a nurse in a hospital in Pune. And he has been doing it all the time. So it's not that he would speak only to the rich businessmen or powerful politicians of our own country or others. That, of course, is very important. But he would take off 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there to do some gestures. So coming to this another dimension, we may say, before even we speak, speaking is an action. Can we have a bit of thoughtfulness, a bit of silence, a bit of preview of what we want to say? Should we say it, or should I let others speak? And if I want to say it, if I think this is right thing to say, how to express it, and how long should be my narration? How much details? Many of us lack a sense of how much details to give. I also sometimes fail. Somebody asked me, do you know Indira Reddy in Mysore? Rather than just saying, yes, I have met her a few times and she has attended Vedanta classes by me. 2 sentences, I sometimes, get excited. Oh, I know her for many years and she and my elder sister were classmates and, her daughter and go on and on. And I have regretted, even at this age, I am trying all the time to not speak more than what is optimum, nor sit back and hesitate and then later regret. I should have said to speak right quantity. Well, that is another issue. Now I am saying right sequence. Right sequence is before you speak, maybe 30 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. That depends on the matter, on the topic, on the complexity or simplicity of the matter. Certain things you can figure out in 5 seconds, whether you should say or not say. Certain other things, you better think a little more. So if you are in silence, silence meaning some kind of introspection. Otherwise, you rant out, you just say whatever came to your mind and later you regret. Yeah, I should not have. Sometimes when we speak more than what is required, the other party keeps silent, maybe because we are senior, maybe we are respected, maybe we are in some advantageous position. The other side keeps quiet. But if we are alert enough, we can see on their face. That face, though silent, though they are not saying anything, that face sends a signal to us. Sir, don't go so much into details. And if we are alert, we will trim what we were about to say. Last but not the least, I would quote something that J. Krishnamurti said, which is a profound statement. Normally in spirituality, in the so-called spirituality, we think of some sadhana and we visualize freedom at the end of sadhana. And Jiddu Krishnamurti, in his characteristic way, which is generally unusual, which is out of box thinking, which is so uncommon, he said, sirs, he would address people, sirs. Sirs, freedom is not at the end of inquiry. Freedom has to be in the beginning of inquiry. He turns many of the philosophical concepts upside down. I myself took some time to understand that statement. Freedom is at the beginning. I said, how can that be? We all are ignorant. We will get freedom at the end of a long sadhana. Like Nelson Mandela's autobiography is titled The Long Walk to Freedom. After spending 27 years in Robben Island near Cape Town, 27 years in jail, what a long period. The man comes out, he had gone in as a young man, comes out as pretty old, becomes the president of South Africa and so on. And he wrote this book then, The Long Walk to Freedom. We visualize spirituality like that. It's a long walk to freedom. But Krishnamurti says freedom has to be in the beginning. So this is also an interesting issue of right sequence. So is it sadhana, some kind of effort with freedom emerging at the end later, or is it as per his puzzling statement, freedom at the beginning? Well, I respect both the approaches, the traditional approach where teachers, saints, gurus, mahatmas have advised us, begin small, grow big. Small victories lead to big victories, etc. I respect that kind of statement, but I do agree that J. Krishnamurti, talking on a high plateau, says freedom has to be in the beginning. I would fully endorse it if anybody who is applying his or her mind to it is mature enough to understand the significance of that expression, freedom at the beginning. And let me explain what it is. According to me, who are we to interpret these mystics, but we share our opinion, our view. Freedom at the beginning means, right as we inquire into life's questions, what is love? What is friendship? What is beauty? What is life's purpose? What am I? Who am I? Why do I live? And so on, whatever. When we examine, when we inquire, If right at the beginning we let go of any idea of our being superior or inferior, our being low or high, our being competent or incompetent. Interestingly, Ramana Maharshi saying this I complete my presentation, Ramana Maharshi has said something very strong. I'm not going to quote the whole thing, but you think that your health does not permit your meditation. Ramana Maharshi says, you think your health does not permit your meditation. This depression must be traced to its origin. The origin is the wrong identification of the body with the self. Let me take just this part of this quote. You think your health is not permitting your meditation. This depression, oh, I can't meditate. Nowadays, my health is not good. With this back pain, with this pain in the throat, like that, We think, how can I meditate? I wish my health was sound as it was a couple of years ago. Oh my God, etc. We go on with this mental chatter. Maharshi Ramana, with a certain incisive insight, says this depression must be traced to its origin, and the origin is wrong identification of the body with the self. Now come back to J. Krishnamurti. I am a Brahmin. I am a graduate from All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I am from a reputed family of Rajasthan. And I am this. Suppose you cling to all these ideas. And then I say, I want to meditate. I want to inquire who am I? I want to realize the pure self. We would say, first to be free of all those notions of your family background, your academic background, your being from such and such family in the state of Rajasthan or whichever, These ideas, or I'm a sinner, or I made so many blunders, and I'm a hypocrite, or I'm an honest person, whatever it is. Why do you carry such a big baggage on your head and then say, now I want to inquire into truth? You must be free. I guess that's what Krishnamurti meant. Let go of any presumption, pre-concluded view, right? Let go of this baggage, and the thoughts may arise. I am a Kshatriya, I am a Rajput, etc. Something may arise. Let it arise. It is one thing for the mind to throw a thought, a memory, and it's quite another for you to embrace it. So freedom is not freedom from any thought. Freedom is freedom from your identification with that thought. So as you sit on a bench by a lake and wish to stay in some attentiveness, attention, which is the essence of meditation, which is the essence of inquiry, a thought may arise, and that thought may be in a sense true also. The thought may say, at one time you were a thief, don't forget it. And maybe I was a thief at one time. But don't allow that thought to take you on a ride. Look at that and have sympathy for your own mind, which is hijacked by memory. The lake is beautiful, the park is beautiful, the ducks that are moving on the water are so pretty, the bench is nice, weather is good, you have taken a nice bath and walked up to this lake near your house, sitting alone, or maybe sitting with your spouse, which is also okay. You and your spouse are sitting and you are enjoying retirement. Where is the problem? Why should this thought that you at one time had stolen something from somebody. Why should it imprison you, chain you? So begin with freedom from the grip of that thought. Let the thought come and go, but don't be in the clutches of that thought. Don't be in the clutches of thought of your being Kshatriya or Brahmin or Shudra or Vaishya or man or woman. All of them may be true in a certain context. But here, that is not the context. Here, you look at the mind, the human mind. Whatever you are a human. The human mind has certain frailties, certain fickleness, certain bad habits. And look at your mind compassionately. That perhaps is the meaning of the astounding thinker who said, freedom is at the beginning, not at the end. So drop the baggage and look at thoughts if they arise with as though some space between the thoughts and yourself. Dear friends, this is a very general topic and we have meandered all over to bring out certain facets of how not working hard and harder and harder and running and no, not that. But we must not be lazy. Some hard work is in place, but more than that quantity, more than putting more hours, if we are watchful and we pay attention to the right sequence in worldly matters, in spiritual matters, then it would be so wonderful. Who knows? Our problems may just vanish also sometimes. You don't have to solve them. They may just dissolve in a certain new understanding that dawns upon you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Good to see many of you in the Zoom. Shall I say, maybe I should call the screen the wall of honor. On this wall of honor, I see many names and a few faces also. And the faces are smiling. That's wonderful. So, will Subramanyam be the opening batsman today? Please turn your mic on. Your mic is off. How come your mic is off? Microphone.
Yes. Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes, Subramanyam.
The question is, in the training of the senses, which is better, is pratyahara, avoiding the stimulus, or sashi bhava, that can reinforce the willpower, which is a better, say for example, on the kitchen table, if I have not place it there in the first place, or let it be there, but then develop the willpower, which is a better sadhana.
See, developing willpower or being sakshi is the higher sadhana. I would not say better sadhana. You carefully saying it is the higher sadhana, but sometimes it may not be better because on certain days you badly want to eat something delicious. Then you should look at your own mind sometimes like a little child. Sometimes when we see that a child is really hankering after some ice cream, we give it to the child. So what is better at a given moment should be in accordance with a wise assessment of your need. See, you and I can distinguish between what is called chapalya. You know what is chapalya? We are not really hungry, but we want to eat. We really have had enough of helping, but we want some more. We are simply fickle. There, we should be strict with ourselves. But there are times where, some delicious, simple food, but delicious, maybe from our own hometown, but we haven't eaten for a long time, is available. There's nothing wrong in, saying, I haven't eaten this for such a long time, and let me take a couple of helpings. So what I am saying is, philosophically, on the scale of what you call subtlety. Okay, on the scale of what is more subtle, what is less subtle, what is gross. This patya, I won't touch it, I won't eat it, is on a lower level, and Sakshi Bhava is on a higher level. But honestly, many a time we don't have to push ourselves to Sakshi Bhava. Sometimes we may allow ourselves for moderation. Like Ishwaran, whom all of us have studied, says, stop one bite before you are full. Right? So we must be very understanding towards ourselves. If there is something adharmic, we should be very strict. There is no question of understanding. But what is within the framework of dharma? So I had quoted Scott Peck in that context. He doesn't say deny to yourself enjoyments, have the capacity to delay. Yeah. So what is the higher on the scale of philosophy is not always better. If we are up to it at a certain moment, then it is the best. If we are not up to it, we can openly say to our friends, there were times when I was just Sakshi, but today I'm going to go for moderation. I enjoy this, but moderate. Okay. There is some text question, I think, by Lataji. As per Bob Marley, the day you stop racing is the day you win the race. Beautiful quote. I had not heard this. The day you stop racing is the day you win the race. Bob Marley, I guess. Is per means as per? Did you mean per means as per? Maybe. Yeah, this is wonderful because we generally think in quantity and we are so agitated by this work not being over, that person not keeping his promise, and we ourselves not having kept some promise, we get guilty, we feel ashamed. Ooh, with all this agitation, we just want to race. And this quote is so beautiful. The day we stop racing, slow down, understand life, have sympathy and compassion not only towards others, to yourself also, which is not some kind of endorsing everything, but we refrain from, we avoid simply labeling ourselves. I am such a wretched person, I am such a useless person. That should not be done. Then we stop the race. When we do not condemn ourselves and we are walking, but we are not racing with tension, etc. That is a wonderful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. The day you stop racing is the day you win the race. Sneha Kloke says, thank you, Swami, very well explained and somehow very apt in timing. Okay, that's an appreciation, not a question. And Srinivas Rao, Ravi Prakash, let me see, having come to the chat box, yes. Okay, Lataji says once more, as per Vincent van Gogh, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Oh, you seem to have a good fund of nice quotation. This too I had not heard. Van Gogh, we know, the great artist. But great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Yes, we realize this. I gave the example of Modi talking to a nurse in Pune. It's a small thing. But here and there, such gestures make people appreciate, admire him. And I'm sure he also had a certain satisfaction. I could talk to this nurse and so on. And when that some space project failed, he hugs the head of ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, and both are emotional. The head of ISRO cries actually in the embrace of Narendra Modi. So there too, the Prime Minister did in a sense a small thing, but in another way, it was a big thing. Thank you again. A series of small things brought together make for great things. So now I go back to the screen, the wall of honor.
I have one question.
I thought Janakiram has a question. Please go ahead.
Triggered by this, your talk and review. For example, Gita Upadesha is the right sequence. But for common people who are with so many other concerns and issues, is it okay to prioritize and take either one chapter or, for example, chapter 14 or chapter 16 and focus on that? Would it be called the right sequence?
Yes, it is. So breaking it into parts and doing a little at a time would also be a right. You have a bigger vision. You want to complete the study of Gita, but you say, today I will read the 2 shlokas of this chapter. Certainly. Other day in another lecture, I quoted Professor Sri Kumar Rao, who runs an institute, Rao Institute. He is very wise. He expresses things very well. He says in the context of, somebody wanted to write a whole book, but someone was postponing. Then he says, don't postpone. Even if you have 20 minutes, sit down and make the list of contents. These are the chapters I would like to have in my book. And that's it. That day, then you sleep. At least your tentative list of contents got ready. So I fully endorse that view. Take a little at a time, do it, rather than saying, oh, I don't have enough time, so let me watch some news on the TV. Many times you and I make that mistake. Saying I don't have enough time, then we end up. Once I had to write an article, I said, but I want to sleep at 10:30, it's already 10:10. Then I took my, this mobile, which is the greatest distraction these days. I started looking at Google News. And before I could realize, it was 11:30. 1 hour, 20 minutes I had watched Google News, the latest thing about the COVID scenario, Omicron, what happened in Egypt, what happened in Israel, what happened. Instead, if I went by Sri Kumar Rao's advice, I have only 20 minutes. I don't have the time to write the article. Doesn't matter. Can I write 1 paragraph? Then sleep. Tomorrow's another paragraph. That would have made me very happy. But I went to bed a little sad about myself. So I endorse your view, Janakiramji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. How about Raina?
Swamiji, there are some text questions.
Oh, text questions. Okay, Raina may ask later or may not ask. Text is, Gargi Pandey says, any choice between dharmic and adharmic denies freedom, isn't it? This is on a higher plane. I would once more say, if someone is able to see through, the limitations of this bifurcation, what you call dharma from one angle of view is adharma from another angle of view. So, who is deciding what is dharma and what is adharma? Suppose, with respect to some of these deep questions, one has a tremendous clarity, then yes, then one should not be limited by those choices. But generally, in a lot of situations, our own conscience is quite loud about dharma and adharma. Then to go into somebody's statement, what dharma, what adharma, even that division, that duality, is false, etc., blah, blah. We just say some words. Actually, we are driven by some temptation. Actually, we are led by some provocation. Then we are deceiving ourselves. Otherwise, true, on a higher plateau, but you have to be very honest. Are you really on that high plateau? Or are you using a very high-sounding statement by some lofty mystic to come convenient in the present situation? Like I'm a diabetic and I have some gulab jamun in front of me. Mainly temptation to enjoy the gulab jamun is driving me, but because I am a well-read person, with gulab jamun in front of me, I say, after all, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This whole universe is illusion. And life and death are no different from each other. This way, if you philosophize, before you complete those sentences, the gulab jamun will go in. Then you have to face the music, as they say. Therefore, it is true, the choice denies freedom, but are you awake to the truth of that statement, is the question. Cynthia asks, oh, this is not a good question. Cynthia Maxwell asked, okay, maybe it's some other title. Srinivas Rao says, top-down approach in vision and bottom-up approach for implementation. Would it not be better? Beautiful. I didn't know this expression, but yes, we have to have a top-down approach in vision. We have to have a large angle view. But when it comes to implementation, bottom to top, bottom up, because then we are honest to ourselves. The top down is what our intellectuality empowers us to do. Because we are read, we have heard, we have thought, we have discussed, we are able to see things from above. But bottom up is where we come out with certain honesty and integrity, where we give due weight, we give due consideration to where we are at a given moment. Yeah.
Swamiji, prioritizing
Yes.
different jobs.
Yes.
I feel it is the other side of the time management, because if we say that with given time, I have got several jobs to attend, then as you have said, Swamiji, that we have to prioritize. Important, less important, urgent, less urgent. Right.
That's right. That's right.
Right. And then this will be part of the time management also, because we have got fixed time frame. Within time, we have to manage at the same time, prioritize what is the thing to be attended first. As we had heard story that if there is a policeman on the beat and there are two vehicles coming in the opposite direction, he has to give the side to one first. There is one ambulance, there is one patient. Patient running to hospital and ambulance coming, fire brigade and the ambulance. Fire brigade has to douse the flames and the patient has to reach the hospital.
Yes.
There he has to prioritize. Then it was said that he will first let the patient to go to hospital because it is the question of his survival.
Okay.
And the fire is on. Whatever damage has to be created has been created. But here the priority comes. The word priority comes. Likewise, in our daily routine also, there are certain things which we need to attend first.
Yes.
The others can wait.
Yeah.
There is priority.
That's a good example. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good example. Sometimes everybody their conscience may speak in a different voice. So one has to be true to one's conscience. Rather than being swayed by some likes and dislikes, one has to listen to one's inner voice. Yeah, that's a nice example you shared. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, written something, Swamiji.
Who?
Katyayani. Before Gargi Pandey, Katyayani Suryadev.
Oh, okay. Yes, Katyayani. Learning to say no also helps when needed. Absolutely. Correct. Learning to say no. And this ability to say no should be backed by ability to look at the whole situation very carefully. Because if we don't see a situation carefully, we may say no where yes would have been better. If we don't study the situation a little bit, we may say yes, wherein no would have been better. So rather than simply arming ourselves with the capacity to say no more and more, rather than saying today I will say as much no as possible, we should rather say today before saying yes, I will study the situation. Because a golden opportunity sometimes comes our way, and to say no would be unwise. So I fully agree that saying no is very important, but I'm saying it should be backed, it should be supported by a capacity to evaluate various options. We should
Depends
not.
on the situation, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you.
Depends upon the situation also. Saying no is not that easy also, sir.
Very difficult. True, true. Yeah. I guess all the questions are over.
Yes, Swamiji. From YouTube, there is no question. On this side also.
Okay. Wonderful. So yeah, this is an open topic. All of you please reflect on whatever has shared. It's not easy. You can't give a frozen list of do this and don't do that, because all of us have such variety of personalities. Our situations are also so different. Such webinars only equip us with some tools. Then we have to do our own homework properly. And if we do well, good. If we fail again, don't blame yourself. Learn from every situation. Be wise the next time. All right. Namaste, everyone.
Yes, sir.